Today we talk about a video that a lot of people may have not been expecting. Of course, this channel is a newer channel, and I'm still experimenting with what I want to do. I've been doing what ifs about alternate history and stuff, but about what if animal biology. I love talking about animals. It talks about Pokemon and being endangered. Pokemon versus Lions didn't really do too well on the channel, which is why there isn't a sequel video to that. But what if we took animals and put them somewhere else? This episode will be the very first one, where the velociraptor was introduced to modern day Mongolia. Would they survive or would they die? So, the climate of modern day Mongolia is pretty cold, okay, because of the Himalayas blocks the warm temperatures, and it isn't as warm as it was during the late Cretaceous. That's going to be the biggest problem for the velociraptor. They do have feathers, but they were adapted for a warmer climate. Kind of like with the T-Rex in the Great Cretaceous, because the Earth was much warmer. But I think that they would be able to self-insulate very similar to modern-day birds, as there are birds in the Gobi Desert. Next would be water. Considering the fact that the velociraptor, the also likely live in the desert, well, they were probably adapted to living in climates of very little water. So this wouldn't really be a problem. Next is food and prey items. Velociraptor likely fed on smaller animals. A lot of the animals here are not really too big. I think the largest animal is the camel, and yeah, they can definitely feed on the various gazelles and deers that live in the Gobi Desert. Its competition, well, there wasn't really much competition. It would become the top predator overnight. Considering that predators have been exterminated from the Gobi Desert, besides the extremely rare Gobi bear, there hasn't really been many predators besides like snakes and stuff, which feed on smaller animals anyways. And yeah, the various amounts of wild horses and stuff would probably be easy prey, but the velociraptor would likely prey on even smaller animals. But again, the velociraptor did prey on medium-sized animals like Protoceratops. But the thing is, Protoceratops was likely slow-moving animals. Horses can move pretty fast. And we'll tell you about the Kuron, which is the animal that lives there. There was also backswing camels, which would also be pretty ideal prey, as they're not as fast-moving as horses. But gazelle and deer, they would probably need to learn to ambush these animals before they can get them. I think a probability of a velociraptor surviving in not New York, and current day Mongolia is possible. The velociraptors would have to get used to the colder winters, and would have to adjust to the colder temperatures of modern day. I think they're more likely to survive in an area like the Sahara Desert, which is much more similar to the climate that existed during the Great Cretaceous period, as well. But of course, we're using modern day areas. And the velociraptor could still possibly survive. Well, the problem is, prey would still be pretty scarce, because a lot of the species in the Gobi Desert are endangered as well. Especially the wild backswing camel, where there's only like 700, 800 animals. Now let's talk about the biggest threat, humans. Humans would probably hunt and kill these animals if they threaten livestock. Like if any predator, humans have a nature of killing livestock, even to protect killing predators, even if they're protected like wolves and tigers and snow leopards, because they harm livestock. Because humans don't want the livestock being hurt, obviously, by predators. And I think that they will likely be having to put conservation efforts into place to save the velociraptor, as it would, if they did survive and adapt to the climate, they would become an iconic animal and an irreplaceable part of the current day ecology of the area. I think I would give the velociraptor a 6 out of 10. The cold climate really sets it down, but it would be perfectly adapted for the modern-day Gobi Desert, as it would be, similar in size to like a wolf or a wild dog, which means it could easily take down small to medium-sized prey in the area. It probably wouldn't be able to take out any camels, as they're too big probably, but it would probably be able to take down deer or ibex or gazelles, which all live in the areas. And also they could also probably spread to the Himalayas and definitely adapt to that. But the problem is, when they move to the Himalayas, they're going to have to deal with the snow leopard, which is a predator that's basically perfectly adapted for the Himalayas. And yeah, snow leopards mostly live in the mountains. Meanwhile, the velociraptor be forced to live in the mountainous areas. There's also several birds of prey that also I think live in the Gobi Desert, but again, they mostly pose a threat to smaller animals as well. But the humans would be a big problem, as these animals would probably be seen as pests and be seen as problems for the velociraptor. And this would be a big problem, as basically humans would see the velociraptor as a pest and kill him. And it'll, I think that they could also adapt pretty similarly to coyote, they have a generalist-esque diet. Again, there's a lot of animals that have a generalist-esque diet, yet like the coyote, and they're able to survive pretty well. They could also become a pest or a nuisance animal, very similar to a coyote, or they will probably be targeted down for hunting sheep, pigs, and other livestock. Maybe not cattle, because the cattle are too big, obviously, but sheep, cattle, goats would be easy targets if they don't have any food as well. And I think this is also another example of why predators need to have prey in order for predators to survive, to have a complete trophic chain as well. I do think that with conversation, people should still be mindful of farmers and herders and livestock with predators, but and try to minimize as many losses as possible. I think that we should try to do that even more, but obviously, we need to try to minimize the losses on both sides of that spectrum, because of course, with farmers, it's the livelihood, and they don't want the animals being killed, but we don't want the predators being killed. We need to find a way for farmers and predators to coexist. I think by doing that is by conserving number of prey species and making them in higher number, so predators won't be forced to hunt livestock. That's a pretty simple answer to that question. But yeah, humans would also kill the velociraptors for their feathers, and poaching could probably be a very serious threat to this animal. Considering the fact that many birds are poached for their feathers, this wouldn't be too surprising to happen for the velociraptor, which again, dinosaurs are birds' closest relatives. Birds evolved from dinosaurs. I think the closest animal to it in the modern day would be the cassowary, or bird of prey, as of course birds are the closest relative to dinosaurs. Considering the fact that birds can survive in the world ecosystem and adapt relatively easily, I do think that the velociraptor could adapt to a colder climate, but the problem is velociraptor is an animal that is perfectly adapted for the very warm climates of the late Cretaceous period. It is not adapted for a cold climate. Same thing with most dinosaurs, as almost most modern day dinosaurs, but most modern day areas, dinosaurs will not really would have to adapt towards the colder temperatures. Dinosaurs would thrive probably best in Africa, Australia, and South America, as those are kind of like the warmest parts of the modern day world as well. But I do think that dinosaurs like Velociraptor, especially like small dinosaurs, could adapt relatively quickly to a change in climate, very similar to birds can. Because, yeah, I'm gonna still give this whole thing a 6 out of 10, as they would still have to worry about humans poaching them for their feathers, and also humans killing them to protect livestock. Goodbye.